At the start of the story, we see an American football game where a guy named Nicky is sitting comfortably with his girlfriend Jess in the VIP area. The game is going on, but Nicky is more interested in the crowd than the game. He notices a pretty girl getting up from her seat and leaving. At that moment, a mischievous idea pops into his mind. He makes a small bet with Jess, saying, "Let's see how many people look back at that girl." One of the guys sitting nearby, Lee Yuan, wants to join the bet, and Nicky agrees. Everyone jokingly puts in a 10 bet and starts counting. When the girl leaves the stand, the final count shows 7 people look back at her. In this bet, Jess had guessed the closest number, so she won. Lee Yuan gives her the money without hesitation, and then suggests starting the next round. This time the bet is about who will make the next mistake in the game. Jess drops out saying she doesn't know much about the game, but Nicky jumps in and puts a 1,000 bet down. As soon as the whistle blows, the referee calls a foul and it's the team Nicky bet on. He wins and puts the money in his pocket. Even after losing, Lee Yuan gets more excited and says let's bet 5,000 this time. Now we have to guess if the player will pass the ball or run with it. Nicky hesitates a bit about betting 5,000 but finally agrees. Lee Yuan thinks the player will run and Nicky says he thinks they will pass. As soon as the whistle blows, the player actually runs with the ball, which means Nicky loses 5,000. Now Nicky decides it's okay, we lost 5,000, let's stop here, and asks Jess to come have coffee. Nicky wants to leave but Lee Yuan insists. He says you're in the VIP lounge, you have money, why get upset over 5,000? Let's play another bet, this time for 10,000. Eventually, Nicky agrees. The question now is whether Nicky will make the right pass or not. Nicky thinks he will, but the other team intercepts the pass. This costs Nicky 15,000. While he's taking out the money, he gets a little upset. He thinks for a moment and says, let's bet 50,000 this time. Jess is shocked to hear this, but Nicky looks angry. Right now, things aren't going his way. He loses the next bet, and has to give away another 50,000. Jess tells him to stop, but Nicky's anger and pride take over. Without thinking, he places the next bet of 100,000. Lee Yuan laughs at him, saying, "Do you even have that much money?" Nicky silently throws a whole bundle of cash on the table. Seeing this, Lee Yuan gets excited. This time Nicky bets that the next pass will be intercepted, but it's completed successfully. Now Nicky has lost 100,000. He can't figure out how to get out of this mess. Jess is also shocked by his behavior. The game has reached a critical point. Nicky says, "I've got 1 million left. Let's put it all on the line." The winner will be decided by playing cards. Lee Wn has been winning lately and is getting excited. He's thinking of Nicky as a money machine. Lee Wn draws a 5 of clubs. Now Nicky just needs to draw a higher card. His chances of winning are very good. Nicky picks up a card and flips it over confidently, but it's the 3 of hearts. Jess was shocked when she saw it. When Nicky started the game, he only wanted to bet 10, but now he's lost over 1 million. After such a big loss, Nicky had nothing to say. He quietly took Jess's hand and started to leave. He was very upset, but Lee Wn kept teasing him. He said, "This is what happens when you mess with the master." Nicky stopped and put in another bet, this time for 2 million. Nicky suggested a new way to play. He said Lee Wn could look through a telescope and pick any player on the field. If Jess could guess the player's jersey number, Nicky would win. Lee Wn was confused and thought it was like mind reading. He felt that Nicky was making it too easy and might be cheating. To clear up the doubts, Nicky said Jess would try instead. Jess was mad and didn't understand what was going on. She said, "What are the chances I'll guess the right number out of all these people?" She tried to leave but was stopped by a security guard. A small fight started but Jess calmed down. Nicky told her to just look around and pick a number that felt right. Lee Wn looked through the binoculars and picked a player. Then Jess took the binoculars and scanned the whole field. She kept seeing jersey numbers everywhere, but how could she guess which one to choose? Then she saw a familiar face and remembered what Nicky said. She should pick the number that felt right for her. Their friend Farhad was wearing jersey number 55, and Jess understood it was all part of Nicky's plan. Jess said the number 55, and it was the correct answer. Lee was shocked. Jess started wondering how Nicky knew Lee Wn would choose that number. But at that moment, it didn't matter. They had already won the bet. Both of them made a 1 million profit and got back all the lost money. They left the stadium with 2 big bags full of cash. In the car, Nikki told Jess that it was all part of their plan. They had been following Lee Wan for a long time. He was well known for his bad gambling habits and would take any bet. Nikki's team had set up the whole thing. As soon as Lee Wan stepped out of his hotel room, the number 55 stuck in his mind. On the security guard's name tag, the number 55 was written. Everywhere he walked to the stadium, he saw the number 55 on signs. It wasn't just in his sight, he even heard it. A song played in Lee Wan's car kept repeating 55 over and over. The song said 55 a total of 124 times, keeping his attention on it. They even showed him a picture of Farhad, which helped him remember a face. So, when Lee Wan looked through the binoculars, his mind went to the number 55, and Jess said 55 the moment she saw Farhad. Jess hadn't been told anything beforehand, so her reactions would stay natural during the game. That way, no one would suspect her. After hearing everything, Jess was really impressed with Nikki. After this, the story takes us back a few days. Just a few days ago, Nikki was lying on a bed in a room with Jess next to him, and a man was pointing a gun at his head. Jess had only met Nikki recently. It was obvious that someone had tricked Nikki, but he didn't seem scared. He said calmly, "I don't have any money. If you want to shoot, then go ahead." The man with the gun looked at Nikki's reaction and quickly realized, this guy was clever, even smarter than them. And he was right. Nikki was a master at small scams and tricks. Jess had brought Nikki to the room by tricking him, but Nikki saw something in Jess. At that time, Jess didn't understand anything. When the man with the gun left, Nikki said to Jess, "You have a gift. If you learn to use this ability to trick people, you can live a very comfortable life." Nikki said, "This is our family business. My dad and his dad were all con artists. We are cheats by blood. Every trick and move is a game to us, not wasting time." Jess took out some money and said, "I want to learn from you." Nikki agreed while walking out. He stole one of Jess's rings, and she didn't even notice it by the time she figured it out. Her watch was gone too when she put the watch in her handbag. Nikki had already taken her wallet. After all these tricks, Nikki said, "Sleight of hand, timing, and a little style, that's all you need." For this job, Nikki said goodbye and left after a few months. Jess found Nikki in New Orleans, where he was building a new team. Their meeting was actually a test to see if Jess was good enough to join his team. When Jess agreed, Nikki sent her to a fair with one of his team members. This was Jess's first real job. She started asking people for directions, holding a map in her hand. While she kept people busy, her partner snuck up and stole a tourist's camera lens. Then, another team member accidentally bumped into a guy, and Jess took his wallet. Jess was getting better at this and felt more confident. Using chopsticks, she snatched another woman's wallet from her bag. Everything went so smoothly that no one even suspected them. Nikki was watching from the top of a building and told the team to leave Jess alone. Now it was her turn to do it on her own. Jess started taking expensive things one after another, and with each theft, Nikki's respect for her grew. Now Nikki gave her a big assignment, this time, a tricky scam. With special lenses, they could see other players' cards and beat them easily. They also had a system for stealing credit cards. The stolen card was secretly sent to a teammate, where a device copied its data, and then the card was returned to the owner's pocket. By the time people realized it, their whole bank account would be empty. Another trick was a fake cash machine. When someone took out money, the machine would secretly record their PIN number. Farhad would take the machine away and steal all the information. All the stolen credit cards were sorted into groups. Expensive things like jewelry and clothes were bought with them. And then their information was sold to someone on the black market. One day, Jess saw a beautiful necklace and put it on. But Nikki told her to take it off right away. He said that all the things had to be sold, and nothing could be kept for ourselves. Jess had never seen anything like this big scam before. It felt weird to be standing in a room full of stolen things. The next day, Jess and Farhad were walking in a rich neighborhood. Their job was to pretend to be in trouble. Farhad suddenly fainted, and Jess started shouting, "Help, someone, please." It was a distraction, which the rest of the team used to steal from the wealthy people around them. After the job was done, the whole team escaped by hiding in an ambulance. The whole plan was so perfectly executed that no one could figure out anything. That night, they all celebrated together. Nikki praised everyone because they had made $1.2 million in just 1 week. The next day, all the team members were preparing to go their separate ways. The documents were destroyed, and Nikki promised everyone that their money would be transferred to their bank accounts within a few days. But the old members of the team knew that Nikki still had one last job left. The next morning, Nikki took Jess to the VIP lounge of the stadium. He showed her a full demonstration in front of Jess to show how they could earn $1 million in just a few minutes. By now, Jess had started falling in love with Nikki. She thought she was Nikki's girlfriend, and that's why he was showing her all this. But Nikki had only included her in the group to help himself. When everything was over, Nikki handed her $80,000 in cash and said goodbye. Jess looked at him with tears in her eyes. Her heart was broken because she had fallen in love with Nikki. At the same time, she thought $80,000 was too little since Nikki had just made $1 million. But Nikki didn't care about feelings. Jess had now seen his true side. Almost 3 years later, a car pulls into a gas station, and we see Nikki again. There was tiredness in his eyes, and it was clear he was running low on money. During lunch, he met with George, the owner of a racing team. George's research team had developed a new computer program called EXR, but he wanted to improve it to increase his chances of winning. So, he hired Nikki. The plan was simple. Nikki would pretend to be their top engineer. Then, they would stage a fake fight between George and Nikki, so other teams would fall into their trap. After that, Nikki would sell a fake version of EXR to the rival team while George's team would use the real system and easily win. As part of the deal, Nikki was supposed to get €1 million for the job, and the money he earned from selling the fake system would be his too. Nikki thought this job was a joke. He could have done something like this in his sleep, but George's butler didn't trust him at all. The butler directly threatened Nikki and said, "If you do anything wrong, I'll shoot you right in the chest." Nikki wore a tuxedo and left to go to a party that evening. The plan between Nikki and George was to stage a fake fight in front of the crowd, but it completely fell apart when Jess appeared, walking down the stairs in a red dress. She went straight to hug George. Seeing this, Nikki's eyes filled with anger. His mind went blank. He hadn't seen Jess in 3 years, and now she was with someone else, a man who worked for George, the person who hired Nikki. Nikki walked up to Jess and told her that she wasn't a scam artist anymore, and what happened 3 years ago didn't matter. She also said that George didn't know about their past relationship and it should stay that way. Hearing this, Nikki got really angry. He downed a glass of vodka in one go. Earlier, he had planned to pretend to be angry, but now he really was. The fight with George in front of everyone wasn't just a show, it was real. It caught the attention of a rival racing team, just like Nikki wanted. Soon, security came and kicked him out of the party. But Nikki now had a business card from the rival team in his hand. The next morning, Nikki met the owner of the McLaren team. He spoke directly, saying, "I want to sell you the EXR system. It will cost €3 million. The team owner had plenty of money, so he didn't need to negotiate. He tried out the system right away on the track, and when he saw the results, he was really happy. Nikki promised that the whole software would be ready in 48 hours. Meanwhile, Jess met a man named Farhad on the road. Farhad had been sent by Nikki. He told Jess that Nikki had left her 3 years ago because he had no other choice. Farhad also said that Nikki still loved her. Then he gave Jess a box that had a necklace in it that she had liked a long time ago. It didn't matter if it was real or fake. Jess's heart melted when she saw it. She told Farhad that she couldn't trust Nikki, but her eyes told a different story. She still had feelings for him. On the day of the deal, Nikki showed up and handed over the software to the McLaren team owner. In return, a strongman gave him a case containing €3 million. But Nikki's nature was such that he never worked without taking big risks. He had secretly sold a copy of the same software to every racing team. Every handshake was worth a lot of money to him. When people shook hands with him, they paid him millions. No one knew until the race began that every team had been sold the same EXR system. That night, instead of running away, Nikki texted Jess, saying if she came in time, they could escape together. Nikki waited but no one came. Just when he gave up and turned to leave, Jess showed up. But it was too late to run because at that moment, the same strong man who had given him €3 million on behalf of the McLaren team appeared in front of Nikki. He was actually working for George and had discovered the truth. Nikki had sold the real software instead of a fake one. He didn't care about the €1 million. Now he was wearing his full racing gear and deliberately crashed into Nikki's car. After a terrible accident, both Nikki and Jess were caught. They were tied up and all the stolen cash was in front of George. George was furious. He had spent 40 million euros making that software and now everything was ruined. The worst part was, he still didn't know how Nikki had stolen the real software. When Nikki didn't say anything, George pressed Jess's nose shut, making it hard for her to breathe. Seeing this, Nikki broke down and told the truth. He said he tricked Jess into falling for him again by reminding her of their old relationship. He even gave her the same necklace she liked before, but this time it had a special chip inside. The chip took George's password and copied the data as soon as he opened the software. Jess was heartbroken when she heard this. Tears were streaming down her face, but George and his men started laughing. They liked the story but didn't believe it. George then said, "Jess was never really my girlfriend, she was only with me for my money." Jess said she only pretended to love George to get his expensive watch collection. Nikki was shocked, so Jess lied to George just to make Nikki jealous. Now, both of them were caught. George turned to the butler and asked how Nikki had stolen the software. As soon as Nikki started talking, the butler suddenly fired a gun. The bullet hit Nikki right in the chest. George's face went white. He panicked and told the butler, "I can make money again, but if I get caught for murder, I'm done for." George quickly fired the butler and ran out of the warehouse. Jess was crying hysterically, but the butler just said, "Don't worry. I'm actually working for Nikki. He's my son." The butler had shot the bullet near Nikki's heart, not through it. He used tape to cover the wound, took out the extra blood with a needle, and fixed the air pressure in Nikki's chest. Then, Nikki opened his eyes. He was alive. It was a wild plan, but it paid off. Behind them was a huge stack of cash. All three of them walked out of the warehouse. Nikki was actually an orphan who had been raised by this guy. He was the one who had taught Nikki all the tricks. Their rule was simple: never get emotional. But now, Nikki had really fallen for Jess. The butler left them stranded on the side of the road and took all the money. Nikki was left with nothing. But on the way to the hospital, he noticed something sparkling in Jess's hand, George's €200,000 watch. Nikki looked at her, and she looked back. They both smiled. With tricks like this and fast hands, they'd never go hungry, no matter where they were. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.